Hello everybody and welcome back to Red Devils TV. Now this is your Manchester United versus Leeds match reaction. The game ends 2-2, Leeds came out swinging, the curse of the new manager bounce is a thing. So I'm going to go into the game and I'm going to talk about how my perspective of how I saw the game. So realistically the first half I felt like the majority of United's team were pretty terrible. I mean terrible is a bit of a strong word actually. I would say average. We didn't look up to scratch, we looked a bit shaky and certain players just didn't look up to it. Them players for me were Diego Dalot, Bruno Fernandes, and I am going to say David De Gea because I feel like that them three players just didn't look right from minute one. Now De Gea with the first goal for Leeds, I personally felt like he could have saved that shot. I mean, I don't have an agenda against David De Gea, but there are times where I feel like he doesn't save these low-driven shots. It reminds me of the Brentford goal when we lost 4-0. When Ivan Toney did the low-driven shot from outside the box and it goes through our defence, and David De Gea, well obviously in the Brentford match, David De Gea catches it, but it goes under his armpit and it goes in. Tonight he didn't even make it near the ball. So for me it was just poor goalkeeping, and that's one of David De Gea's weaknesses in my opinion, as well as him coming off his line for crosses. So the low-driven shot and coming out for crosses seems to be David De Gea's weakness in my opinion. But obviously I don't have an agenda against David De Gea. I think he's a great goalkeeper and I credit him. I think he's been our player of the season for a few seasons before. So for me I feel like David De Gea is a great goalkeeper, but these weaknesses are starting to show a lot more now. But yeah, obviously I'm going to speak about Leeds first because I feel like it needs to be addressed. That the new manager bounce is obviously a thing. It happened at weekend with Everton with Sean Dyche beating Arsenal 1-0, and it happened tonight. Leeds came out swinging and United just didn't expect it. Erik ten Hag didn't expect it. I didn't expect it. Pretty much the majority of the fan base probably didn't expect it. And it was, I mean, you've got to think about it. It was coming. You've got to be realistic about these things and expect that when it's a new team's first game, then they're going to come out swinging. They're going to try and give it everything that they've got, and they're going to try and make you lose. It reminds me of when we lost to Aston Villa 3-1 when Unai Emery took over Aston Villa. This new manager bounce is a curse, and you've got to be realistic that it does make players want to play better, because obviously they've got a new manager coming in and it seems like they want to just keep their spots. That's the only reason I can give for it. But yeah, I mean, Leeds played well. I mean, obviously you knew as soon as that first whistle was blown and they just constant pressured United and put us on the back foot. None of us expected it. And you also knew as well they wouldn't be able to do this for the full 90 minutes. So you knew it would stop eventually, and it did. Obviously, after about 10 to 15 minutes, then Leeds started to back off and United started creating more chances. Obviously, we didn't score in the first half and it went to half-time 1-0. But United were getting back into the game. And I am going to talk about a few individual performances about United in a moment. But I felt like Luke Ayling played really well against Garnacho. I mean, he kept Garnacho at bay. Obviously, I feel like Garnacho was the wrong time to choose Garnacho in this game, in my opinion. I felt like if you wanted to play Garnacho, you should have brought him on as a substitution. But maybe that's due to obviously Sancho with possibly being ill. There was rumours about Sancho being ill earlier in the week, and he wasn't gonna play he wasn't gonna start tonight. And that's why he came on as a substitution. But yeah, Garnacho didn't have the best game tonight for me. I wouldn't say he was at fault for the draw, but I felt like he had a bit of a poor performance tonight, and I would give him just below average, but obviously I'll get into my player ratings in a moment. But yeah, so I can't remember if I've said this already, but the players that I kind of blamed for the first half poor performance was David De Gea, Diego Dalot, Bruno Fernandes and Garnacho. I felt like they were too slow. I felt like they didn't look up to it and they just kept making constant mistakes. But this is just my opinion, and obviously this is what the channel's all about. So you have your opinion in the comments down below. Obviously we're going to start live streaming soon, so I'll be able to interact with you guys a lot more consistently and have proper debates and proper conversation with you guys. So stay tuned tuned to the channel. We're on the road to 600 subscribers, so please keep subscribing so we can start live streaming and, you know, we'll start building a better and bigger community. But yes, so let's just firstly talk about the individual performances and players who I blame. So for me, I felt like I said, David De Gea, that low-driven shot I've already explained is probably David De Gea's weaknesses, or one of the areas that he needs to improve on, is a better way to put it. Diego Dalot, I mean, he's just returned from injury. It's his first start in a while, so you can expect him to be rusty. And obviously Diego Dalot did get better in the second half. That's why I said the first half. I did blame him for the first half. But at the end of the day, I feel like that Diego Dalot just looked a bit sluggish. And obviously Wan-Bissaka is ill, so obviously he wasn't playing tonight. He wasn't even in the squad. So Diego Dalot had to start. And Bruno Fernandes, he wasn't doing the simple passes. I mean, the first goal, I could really say it did start from Bruno. It reminded me of the Crystal Palace game when Casemiro got that yellow card and made him suspended for the Arsenal match, because Bruno Fernandes backs out of a challenge and then it caused Leeds to go on the counter-attack. The winger, I can never remember his name, the Leeds winger who scored the first goal, but he passes it to Bamford. Bamford is playing with his back to goal, lays off the winger, and then with a low-driven shot outside the box, it goes in. And it was a good shot. You can't take that away, and you can't discredit what Leeds did. It was a very good build-up play, and Bruno Fernandes just didn't have a good game today, and you could really put the blame on him. I personally feel like he didn't have a good game today. Who else? Garnacho. I first felt like this game was a bit more physical and it wasn't a suited game for Garnacho. I felt like that he just didn't have a good game at all today, and it's a disappointing game for him, but obviously he is a prospect, he is still learning, and I'm pretty sure there's many more good games for him to come, and he obviously hasn't played in a while. It would have been disappointed with the Crystal Palace game when he was brought on as a substitute and then had to be taken off. But I personally feel like Garnacho is currently better being brought off the bench while we're nurturing him, while we're making him a better player. And I feel like that's how we get the best out of Garnacho, because he's coming on fresh. He's a dangerous player. He likes to run at defenders. And if you're a defender who's been being constantly pressured by Manchester United for about 50 to 60 minutes, and then you see a young, hungry Garnacho coming on, you're probably going to feel like you're probably going to shit yourself. Because at the end of the day, he's a young winger who is hungry and wants to score goals and create goals. So I personally feel like maybe at the moment we should lay off Garnacho and personally probably start Sancho if we are going to play Garnacho. I just personally think that Garnacho is much better being brought off the bench, but that's just my opinion. Let me know your thoughts on Garnacho in the comments below. Do you think he's a first team starter, or do you think that Sancho is better than him as a starter? So yeah, my question is to you: do you think Garnacho should be a starter yet? Do you think he started because Anthony was injured, or the fact that Sancho wasn't fully ready? Let me know in the comments down below. And just speaking a bit more about Bruno Fernandes as well, obviously explained the first goal that he backed out of the challenge. I felt like he was trying just to overcomplicate things. He wasn't making the simple passes. He wasn't making the quick 1-2s that he's been doing over the last few games where he's been playing really, really well. But he did look a bit tired tonight, Bruno Fernandes, and for me, he didn't have a good game at all. And it was only until around the 60th minute is when Bruno started to play a bit better, as the rest of the team, which I'm going to get onto now. So the second half starts. Also, just what I say as well, Sabitzer, my man of the match. Straight away, Sabitzer was probably the best player on that midfield, considering Casemiro was not on that pitch, and we're normally a bit worried when Fred plays without Casemiro. Sabitzer was perfect, and I might be overhyping him, but I really rate this player. I think Sabitzer did incredibly, and when Casemiro is sat next to Sabitzer, which is going to be the midfield partnership, we're going to have one heck of a midfield, because that midfield two pairing will be perfect, because Sabitzer was just showing that he was good at going forward, he was good at tackling, he was getting stuck into the challenges, he was good with his link-up play, and I just felt like Sabitzer had a very, very good game. So my hat's off to Sabitzer. I would take my hat off, but my hair's very messy. I've just had a shower, so yeah, I'm not going to do that. But no, yeah, so I just want to talk about Sabitzer real quick. That I just felt like this is why I wanted him. As soon as deadline day happened and we were linked to Sabitzer, I was like, I would take him over any midfielder. Like, Sabitzer was frowned upon when he was first getting loaned by Manchester United. People were saying, oh, we can't get him Bayern Munich's midfield. Why should we want him? And you've got to realise that Bayern Munich have one heck of a midfield. They have Muller, they have Goretzka, and they have Kimmich. Like, they're a really, really good midfield. And Sabitzer, maybe it's one of them leagues where the league doesn't suit him. It looked like he played in a Manchester United shirt for about 3 years. He looked very comfortable in the shirt. He looked confident. He looked sharp. And I felt like he played really, really well. So if he continues like this, buy him in the summer 100%. And I feel like this is why Bayern Munich didn't input a buyout clause for the summer, because I feel like they know that Sabitzer is a very good player, and they didn't want to put a price on him, because if Sabitzer performs amazing, which he has done so far, obviously that it's only been 1.5 games, he's only been brought on as a sub and started a game tonight. But realistically, I feel that's why Bayern Munich have done it. They're very smart with business, and I feel like that they know Sabitzer is a very good player. And if they put a 30 million buyout clause for Sabitzer in the contract, which is what he's currently worth on the football market, then that would be a steal for Manchester United. So that's probably why, for me, they didn't input a straight buyout clause. Obviously, there's talks about being able to buy him in the summer. That option is open, but the straight buyout clause isn't available for the summer, is what I'm trying to say. So I feel like that's what Bayern Munich have done there, and Sabitzer looks one hell of a player in my opinion. So yeah, second half starts, and Leeds kind of do exactly what they did in the first half. They went out swinging, the constant pressure, and obviously, what was he called? Somerville. Obviously, he gets past Diego Dalot, and he goes to make a short pass, and obviously Raphael Varane, his foot deflects it in, and it's an own goal for Manchester United. United are then 2-0 down. So for me, I just look at that and I'm like, you can't really blame Varane on that, because even though Varane had a good game, I felt like that Varane you couldn't really do anything about it. He tried defending it. I mean, De Gea, his near post should have been covered a bit better in my opinion. I don't know how it actually went past De Gea really, but it was an unlucky goal to concede. And again, just us conceding early in the start of the half again, it's worrying, because at the start of the first half and the start of second halves, United, that's probably where majority of our goals have started being conceding. Because it seems like it takes a while for our defence to wake up, and we just struggle, in my opinion. And when you've got a team like Leeds who want to win the game because they've run a new manager bounce, they're gonna be relentless, and you're gonna expect it. And it was just something I think we need to work on. So it was an unlucky goal to concede. It went down as an own goal for Manchester United, for Varane. But realistically, United have got to be a bit more sharper in cutting the lanes of passes, because we can't let players just run at us early in the half, because we seem to be very out of it for me. But anyway, the game gets better. Believe it or not, it doesn't sound like it so far in this current match reaction. But anyway, so what happens is that Ten Hag is obviously looking at the squad and realising something needs to change. So he brings on Palestri for Garnacho and Weghorst for Sancho. So one second, let me just have a drink. Excuse me. But no, with obviously Sancho comes on for Weghorst and Palestri comes on for Garnacho. Straight away you see a change. Straight away you see something. United create 5 crosses within 4 minutes. 5 crosses in 4 minutes is good, right? But a question I want to ask is why Weghorst isn't getting that service. Because Weghorst was took off because he wasn't getting his chances. Weghorst did nothing wrong tonight. And for me, it reminded me of Ronaldo at the start of this season. He's not getting the service, it's the graveyard shift. And this has been a consistent issue over many years with Manchester United. It happened with Anthony Martial before we got Edison Cavani. You know what, even before Martial, it happened with Lukaku, it's happened with Martial, it happened with Edison Cavani, it happened with Ronaldo, and now it's happening with Wout Weghorst. Our players seem to use the main number 9 as a pawn on a chessboard, where we use them to draw out defenders, so the wingers try and the midfielders try to do all the shooting, and we hardly create. And it's an issue because I feel like them crosses that we made and them chances we were crossing into the box, Weghorst probably would have got his head on one of them and probably would have got a really good chance off it, maybe even score from it. So I felt like it was the right decision to take Weghorst off there and then, because obviously he's not really done much during the game, but that's because he's not got the service. So for me, I feel like that Weghorst needs to be getting more service, because what was the point in signing him on a loan deal if we're not going to specialise in his finishing abilities when we're not creating for him? He's not going to create something out of nothing. He's not like Mbappe, where he can dribble through the entire defence and then score a goal. He needs a service. He's a service striker, where he needs the service to create goals and be a dangerous player. So I really hope United start creating more chances for Wout Weghorst. Otherwise, it's going to be a disappointing loan spell for Weghorst, and I don't want that, because I think he's a very good player and I really rate him, and I think that he's a very good number 2 striker. And if we were able to sign him in the summer, I probably would sign him, but obviously he's not really shown much either. But for me, that's because he's not got enough service. But look at the goal against, was it Crystal Palace when he scored? I think it was Crystal Palace, wasn't it? Where he scored. Obviously, Anthony took the shot. The keeper saves it, and then Weghorst gets the goal. Weghorst has got a good shot on him, and I feel like if you give him probably about 5 or 6 chances, he gets a very good chance out of one of them 5. And you could say that's not consistent enough, but for me, it's good odds realistically, because if he gets his head on 5 of the 3, or he gets his foot off on 1 of the 3, but then one of them's a big chance and he's making contact and he's doing well, I feel like Weghorst can get quite a few good goals for United. And that's been our issue. If you look at our goal difference in the league, then United are quite low down. We've only got +8 on goal difference, so it's quite concerning. We need to get that goal difference up a lot, so we need to start scoring more goals, in my opinion. But yeah, like I said, so Weghorst comes off, Sancho and Pellistri come on. Instantly you see a change. Diego Dalot looks a lot sharper. Diego Dalot's making a lot more forward runs. He's making a lot more crosses into the box. Pellistri and Dalot seem to have a good partnership. They were doing link-up play, doing little passes. And then what happens? Sabitzer makes a good cross in. It gets deflected by a Leeds player. And then what happens? Pellistri takes a touch. He shields the ball well from the Leeds defender. I think it was Junior that he defended it from. Passes it to Diego Dalot. Diego Dalot makes a beautiful cross. Rashford makes it 2-1. I mean, the header from Rashford was a very, very good header. And it completely erupts Old Trafford, because I said to my granddad, I was like, I'm not worried, because I feel like we'll draw this game. I was like, obviously it does feel like a loss this game, by the way, as well, but realistically, if you're 2-0 down at the start of the second half, you will take a draw realistically at 2-2. Obviously you want to win every single game, but your expectations change all the time in football. So I felt like that 2-2 was a very realistic fixture. I mean, I should have put a bet on it really, but yeah. Anyway, so what was I saying? So yeah, Rashford makes it 2-1, and it was a good goal. I mean, great service, and that's what I'm talking about with the service. If Weghorst had that service, I think he scores that goal as Rashford does. So yeah, and then obviously United, we've got the momentum, we're building, and as soon as Leeds have the kick-off, we do what they did to us at the start of the halves, where we just put them on the back foot, force them to drop deep, and we just play well. And then obviously with Jadon Sancho, he passes the ball to Luke Shaw. Luke Shaw makes an overlapping run, and then Luke Shaw hits it against a Leeds defender. It deflects off the Leeds defender and drops down to Sancho. Sancho has plenty of time. There's plenty of bodies in the way, so the keeper's vision is a bit blurred and he can't really see, and obviously Sancho kills it in and makes it 2-2. And obviously that was just erupted Old Trafford even louder. But what disappointed me about that goal wasn't the actual goal itself, it was the celebration, because United then ran to the corner flag. Because Rashford's goal, he grabbed the ball and ran to the halfway line. Sancho runs to the corner flag, and I know he's obviously just come back from his break, from his situation that's happened. I think it was due to his mental health, and he's celebrating at the corner flag. And it seems like he felt like he got the winning goal. But for me, I was not satisfied with that goal, because I feel like he should have done what Rashford did, where he should have got the ball and was like, right, we need to make it 3 now. We need to get more and more goals. We need to put them up. We need to completely deaden the mood, because it seemed like when we got that equaliser, United seemed to drop their standards. But that's just my opinion, and obviously the game goes a bit end to end and it ends 2-2. But yeah, I'm going to give my match ratings now. David De Gea, I'm going to give him a 5.5. I'm going to give him a below average game. I felt like he could have done better on the goals. So yeah, no, I'm going to give him a 5 actually. I think it's below average. I felt like he didn't have a good game. So yeah, a 5 out of 10 for me for David De Gea. And I don't have an agenda against David De Gea. I just felt like he didn't have a good game tonight. Diego Dalot gets a 6 from me. I felt like Diego Dalot played well, considering that obviously I did say that I had issues with him in the first half, but I felt like as the game went on, he progressed, he looked a lot better, and obviously he was creating he got the assist for Rashford. So I felt like as the game went on, Diego Dalot looked a lot better, so I would give him a 6. I felt like he improved as the game went on. Varane, you see, Varane was a contender for my man of the match, but then when he got that own goal, it obviously you can't give a player a man of the match for getting an own goal. So I'll give him a 6.5. I felt like he played well, but that own goal, it's just got to lower his rating a little bit. I would have given him a 7, I think, or maybe a possible 7.5. Martinez does get a 7. I felt like obviously he gets around the same credit as what Varane did. He looks sharp in the defence, and I felt like if you started Lindelof or Maguire in that line tonight, it could have been a massacre. It could have been a terrible, terrible score. And thankfully we've got 2 very good defenders, and the only reason that Martinez gets a bit of a higher score than Rafael Varane is because Varane got the own goal, obviously. Luke Shaw gets a 7 for me as well. I felt like he played really, really well. He did good link-up play when Sancho came on. They looked like they had a good partnership going on, and I enjoyed seeing him making the overlap and becoming a more inverted fullback, become as pretty much a third midfielder almost, because you saw United pretty much our back three was Diego Dalot, Rafael Varane and Martinez, and then you saw Shaw pretty much as a wide midfielder almost, or an inverted fullback, where he was joining in with the midfield. He looked sharp and he played really, really well. Fred, I'll give Fred a 6.5. I felt like he didn't have the best game. So yeah, Fred for me gets a 6.5. I felt like he didn't play as well as what Martinez and Luke Shaw did, but I felt like he had a better game than average. So for me, I'll give Fred a 6.5. Sabitzer, where do I give? I'll give him an 8. I'll give him a man of the match, and I'll give him an 8. I felt like that. I mean, I've pretty much already described Sabitzer pretty much. I felt like it felt like he'd played a United shirt for ages. He looked comfortable. He was controlled. He was good in the tackle. He was good going forward. He was creating. He was shooting. He was playing really, really well. He's pretty much. I mean, it might sound stupid and crazy, but I personally rate Sabitzer. I think that one fixture, that one appearance from Sabitzer tonight is better than any fixture Eriksen has had this season. That might be controversial, but that's just my opinion. Bruno Fernandes, I'm gonna give a 5 as well. Like De Gea, I just felt like he didn't have a good game at all. And yeah, he looked poor tonight, Bruno, and it was disappointing because he's been on a quite good run this season for the last few games. So yeah, Bruno Fernandes gets a 5 out of 10 for me. Garnacho, I'll give him a 5.5. I don't think he was as bad as Bruno, but I just felt like he didn't have a good game at all, and I think the substitution was right from Erik ten Hag. Rashford, I mean, he gets the goal. He played well. He had a few good shots. So yeah, I'll give Rashford a 7. He really didn't do anything wrong. He took his opportunity well. He had a few chances, and he scored from one of them. So yeah, I felt like Rashford had a good game. Weghorst, I'm going to give a 6. Now, remember, a 6 isn't a bad score. That's just an average performance. Obviously, if Weghorst didn't get the service, he wasn't really involved in the game. So you can't really put Weghorst at fault for not scoring anything in the first half because he didn't get the service. I've already explained my opinion on Weghorst in the game. Obviously, we had Sancho. He came on. I'll give him a 7. I think obviously he got the goal. Yeah, I mean, I'm just glad Sancho's back. He played well, I think. Obviously, the partnership with Luke Shaw looked really, really good. So yeah, I look forward to seeing Sancho play a lot more. I'm looking forward to seeing how Sancho gets implemented into this squad. Will he play as a right winger and challenge Antony? Will he play as a left winger and keep that partnership going with Luke Shaw and Rashford becomes a number 9? Who knows, maybe interchanges with Bruno for being a number 10 to be more creative. Only time will tell. I'm looking forward to seeing how Ten Hag implements Sancho into this squad. Palestra, I'll give him a 6.5. I felt like he played well. He looked better than Garnacho when he came on. And yeah, I felt like Palestra had a good game. Who else came on? We had Lindelof. I mean, he wasn't really on for long enough, was he? So yeah, I mean, he gives a 6, really. I didn't really notice him do too much. He was pretty much a high playing centre back, pretty much almost a number 6. He was brought off for Sabitzer, so I felt like he just wanted to give Sabitzer a rest because obviously he doesn't want to over-tire Sabitzer as it is his first start. So I understand the substitution. Diego Dalot was brought off for Malacia. So Malacia gets a 6 as well. I just felt like they didn't really they weren't on the pitch long enough, realistically. So yeah, they get a 6 out of 10 for me. I think that's everyone. I'm pretty sure that's everyone. So yeah, and obviously we've got Erik ten Hag to rate. So, I mean, you can't really blame him for the lineup because obviously with the limitations he had, with obviously Antony being injured, Wan-Bissaka being poorly, as well as obviously Sancho being a doubt. So realistically, you can't really blame Erik ten Hag, and obviously Casemiro's also suspended. So yeah. Obviously, I do feel like as well that if Casemiro played today, it would have been in a complete different game. That just shows how crucial Casemiro is as a player. He's one of our best players, so he is a big miss. But yeah, I'll give Erik ten Hag 7.5. I felt like with the limitations he had a very good managerial performance. So yeah, that's been my match reaction. Let me know your thoughts on the game and how you thought individual players played. Let me know on what you think on my opinion. We're on the road to 600 subscribers. So if you've made it this far into the video, please remember to like, subscribe, comment and share. And yeah, thank you for watching today's video and I'll see you in the next one. Goodbye.